Okay. All right.
We're on Masechta Shabbos, Kuf Chav Daled Amud Aleph 124. So glustera is Nagar. Rashi says sheyesh barosho glustera sherosho av. It's a widened. It's a lock of a door, and you can lock the door with a piece that juts out from the stick that prevents the door from being open. Neger sheyesh barosho glustera. Rabbi Yeshua Omer. And by the way, it's like a key, and they would have it on a string, and sometimes they would use it or like a deadbolt, or they would use it for different doors. So Shontach ben Pesach Zev told b'chaver b'Shabbos. You couldn't just carry it from one door to the other. You had to drag it because it was a little muktzah. Remember, we talked about these are the things that were muktzah at the time that Nehemiah created. Now, all kelim are not muktzah, but this was when the kelim were all muktzah. And they're giving examples of that. Rav Tarfon No, Rav Tarfon says it's like all other kelim, you can carry it wherever you want. And the case of the mortar and pestle, where there was a piece of garlic in the pestle, we said as long as there was garlic there, but if there was no garlic, you couldn't use it. Why couldn't you use it? Because it was one of these kalim that were said muktzah at the time of before they permitted all kalim to be used. Rabbi says there's no proof that these are what you described. These remain muktzah even after they were matzah the kalim. Konim, the sticks that were used to support the lechem aponim, time of my mishum iafushe. It was to prevent the loaves from becoming stale. Now, pulling them out Friday before Shabbos is such a small amount of time. By you might as well pull them out then. Why do extra tirchan Shabbos? Do it before Shabbos, because the fact that the lechem aponims were sitting on these sticks, keeping them separated from each other, leading to less staleness from Friday afternoon until Shabbos morning when they ate the lechem aponim. It's just a short period of time. It's not gonna be a problem. So you should remove the sticks erev Shabbos, so you don't have to do it on Shabbos. Maklois, which was those sticks that they would use to put the korban pesach between two people, and they would strip it. So efshek rabbalosar, because you could do it the other way by using your hand alone. Much better to use your hand than use a cleave. You don't need to use the cleave. Glustera, which was this lock. We're talking about b'chatzor sheinim or revasaskina. We're not talking about a house and a chatzor that has an A roof where you can go easily. We're talking about it doesn't have a A. So Rabbi Yeshua Sover tocha pesach kilif nimda. The key is sitting within the pesach, and it's considered inside. And then if you're going to the chatzor, kametatel mona the bottom b'chatzor, you're not allowed to do that unless there's an A roof. But Rav Tarfon Sover tocha pesach kilachutzdami. No, this key that's sitting in the door frame is viewed as if it's on the outside, not on the inside. Therefore, it's viewed as if it's in the chutzner. Umana the chutzner, b'chutzner kamataltel. Any kli erev Shabbos that's in the chutzner, you can be mataltel all of Shabbos. And meducha, the fact that we asked the meducha, that's the sheet of Rav Nehemiah, who never allows you to use a kli other than its specific purpose. Never allows you to use a kli for another purpose. We don't paskin like Rav Nehemiah, we're more lenient. Mishnah. All vessels can be taken on Shabbos, whether for their need or not for their need. We don't know what that means yet. Rav Nehemiah says no, they're only taken for their specific need. What do we mean by this? Amar Rabba L'tzorech means Dover Shemalachto Leheter. It's a kli that is normally used for a malacha during the week, even for a malacha that would be permitted to do on Shabbos. and you want to use it for its main purpose. Litzorach gufo. Shalom, and that's litzorach. Shalom litzorach means davar shalachtu laheter litzorach makomo. Means you don't want to use the item. You're not using the hammer because you want to break open walnuts. You're using the hammer because you need the place where the hammer is. That's considered shalom litzorach. Yet our Mishnah says you can move any kli, whether it's litzorach or not litzorach. That means even if you need it just for its place, it's not a problem. Now, davar shemalachtu le'isser. Let's say a mortar and pestle, for example. You're not allowed to grind on Shabbos, so it's a kli that is used for a prohibited work. So litzarach gufo in. If you're going to use it for another purpose, a heterodika purpose, you can use it and you can touch it. But litzarach makomo, no. But if you're moving it or touching it because you want to use its space, you're not allowed to do it if it's a kli whose malacha is listed. The answer of the even a kli that's normally used for permissible work, you can only use it litzarach gufo in, but litzarach makomo. That's the way Rabbah learns. Amar le Rava litzarach makomo. It means when you take a kli because you need its space, you're calling that shalom litzarach karisle? That's certainly litzarach. Amar Rava, litzarach is a different explanation. Litzarach is davar shemalachtu laheter, is a kli that's normally used for a permissible kind of work. Such a kli, bein litzarach gufa, bein litzarach makomo, you can touch. Whether you need to do something with it or you need its place. And shalom litzarach means vafilu mechama litzeil, meaning you want to protect the item and move it from the sun to the shade. So when our Mishnah says kol hakelim nitolim litzarach v'shalom litzarach, you can move a kli whose malachto is leheter even from the sun to the shade. However, davar shemalachto le'isser, a kli that's normally used for prohibited work, you can move litzarach gufa, litzarach makomo in, but mechama litzeil, lo. To move it from the sun in just to protect it, you would not be able to do it for a kli that's malachto le'isser. The asr of the chemil afilu davar shemalachto leheter, you're only allowed to use litzarach gufa, litzarach makomo in, but mechama litzeil, lo. So two different ways of explaining Rabbah and Rava. We paskin like Rava. Says the Shulchan Aruch. Kalim shemlachtan leheter. Kalim that normally their use is for a heterodika use. Muter letaltalem af litzarach hakli atzma. Meaning, even to preserve the kli, which means to moving it from sun to the shade. So you have litzarach gufo, which means you want to use a hammer to break walnuts. You want to move the hammer because you need its space, or you want to move the hammer out of the sun because it's going to get ruined in the sun. You're allowed to use, as long as the kli is otherwise malachto leheter, you can move it. Like Rava explained our Mishnah. Yosef, Rav Safra, Rav Acha, Bar Huna, Rav Huna, Bar Chanina, Yosef, Ka'amri. These are when we're sitting and learning. Le Rabbo Alibid Rav Nechemya. The way Rabbo explained the Mishnah, that Rav Nechemya said, "Afilu a kli malach leheter l'tzarach gufo in l'tzarach makomo lo. Hani ka'aros hechim metaltalim." He asked, "You have dirty plates." Basically, Rav Nechemya said, if you have a kli that's malachto leheter, you can. They're not muktzah if you use it for a purpose. But if you just need the place that the kli is occupying, he doesn't allow you. So he's saying, what about dirty dishes on your table after a meal? According to Rav Nechemya, you wouldn't be able to remove the dirty dishes. Why are you removing the dirty dishes? Because you need their place. You want to read a book on it. You want to play Monopoly on the table. You want to do something else on the table. So you got to, but that's L'tzorach Makomo. According to Rechemia, you can't move your dishes off the table. No, it's like a chamber pot, which we learned if you have a pot in your bedroom when you go to the bathroom in. So you're allowed to remove that because it's mo'us. So same thing, a dirty dish is mo'us, and you can remove it like a graf shalrei. Armalei by l'rabba, lemar, I'll leave it Rav Nechemia. Hani karo seich metatalin lahu. He asked the same question. Armalei Rav Safra, chadrin targum amida ba graf shalrei. I gave him the same answer. It's like a chamber pot. Since it's mo'us, you can remove it. Eis ve'abai l'rava. Meducha, we said, is a mortar and pestle. We said you can only use the pestle of yesh bashum, the kli that you're grounding the garlic in. Now, if there's garlic there, we say it's not muktzah. But vim lav, ein metatlo so. Now, why not? It's a kli, which we said, the way Rava explained, that even a kli that's malachto le'isser, which is what a mortar and pestle is, we said l'tzorach gufa l'tzorach makomo in, you'd be allowed to take it. So why do we say ein metatla? Because even Rava didn't allow you to use it to protect the kli itself, to move it from sun to shade. But he would allow you to do the other stuff. Eisvei, I'll ask you another question. Shavin, we said Beisil Beishamai agree that on Yontif, if you cut meat on one of the mortar and pestles, after you did the job, you couldn't move it anymore. Now, why not? You should be able to move it for a tzorach gufo. This is also an example of moving it from the sun to the shade, which Rava didn't allow. Freit the Gemara Bahadis now. What about the following Mishnah? Ein soimchin l'sakadera babikas. You have a small piece of wood. You can't put the small piece of wood underneath a pot or b'chein badelas. You can't support the door with this little piece of wood. Now the piece we're talking about yontif. Because to be yontif, who piece of wood can be used for fuel for fire. You're allowed to burn fire on yontif. It's a davar shemlachtu leheter. Am a davar shemlachtu leheter, which we say bein letzorach gufo, bein letzorach makomo. If you're not allowed ein soimchin, we see that you're not allowed to use it. So am a davar shemlachtu leheter, bein letzorach gufo, bein letzorach makomo aser. So also my time, there's a different reason. Since on Shabbos you cannot light a fire, even the B'Shabbos davar shemlachtu le'isru, make a gzeira yontiv otu Shabbos. Even though technically you should be able to use it on yontiv, if you permit it on yontiv, people will do it on Shabbos. On Shabbos, it's a much different kli. It's a davar shemlachtu le'isru, which we wouldn't allow the use we describe. So therefore, we make a gzeira. The chitem Shabbos gufei tishteri. But the way Rava learned that even if it was a kli that's a mlachta le'isra, he allowed you to use it if it had a use. So maybe on Shabbos it should be permitted. Why are you answering it on Shabbos? So hanin mili echadikator's kli Allah. Fine. If it was designated already before Shabbos as a kli, then elchanami, you'd be able to use it on Shabbos. But here it's just a piece of wood. The lekator's kli Allah, it's not permitted to be used on Shabbos. Since it's also on Shabbos, we make a gzeira yon. Now the Gemara is not gonna take that line down. It's going to have a problem with that. Freit the Gemara migazrina, would we make such a gzeira? I'll show you examples where we don't make a gzeira yon tefatu Shabbos, but not. Mashilin peros derech haruv b'yontif. Let's say a person had a bunch of dried fruit up on his roof So if he has a skylight in the roof, he can dump the fruits into his house via the skylight. It's not considered like a tircha yaseh. Avalo b'Shabbos. We don't say anything that's usher on Shabbos, we usher on Yom Tov. There we allow it on Yom Tov. We're talking about, except for, of course we know you're allowed to cook, but this is al muktzah. Rashi says, delot tricha milsa. It's not too much of a, on Shabbos it's considered a tircha, but so on Yom Tov we permit it. Because they fall by themselves through gravity. You see, we don't make a gzeira, and it's prohibited to do that on Shabbos. And we just said something that's prohibited that you do on Shabbos, we geyser that you're not allowed to do on Yom Tov either. So the Gemara says, Umilo gazrinon. I'll show you we do make gzeiras to Yom Tov because it's also on Shabbos. Vatnan ain't been Yom Tov l'Shabbos aloy chalav v'van. In fact, anything that's prohibited on Shabbos is prohibited on Yom Tov, except for cooking. So there seems to be a strong stira here. Rav Yosef, these two Mishnahs that we just quoted are two different Tanoos of Machlokes Tanur. What's going on here? The Tanya. It says, Oso ve'espeno lo sishchatu b'yom echad. There is a prohibition of shechting a parent and a child on the same day. We're talking about an animal. So also there's no shenaflu labor. You have two animals that fell into a bore, a mother and a child. It's not necessarily just the mother, even the father and the child. So what do we do? But Eliezer Omer, and it's Yontif. Malas harishon almanas l'shochto. So the first animal you get out of the bore, you have in mind to shecht it, you shecht it. You have to send down some food into the bore so that the animal doesn't die. That's a tircha that we allow you to do. We allow you to do it that way. Rabbi Yeshua Omer Malas Harishon Amalasu Shoftu Ve'Eshon. You bring the first one up, thinking that you're going to shecht it, and then you decide, you know what? I'd rather have the nicer animal. Umarim, he tricks. Umalas Hasheni. He does a trick, and he says, I want the second one because I don't like the first one. And now, and now he can check whichever he wants. Now, because of Hefsid, Rabbi Yeshua mattered you. And you see, he's not Geyser. So the Gemara wants to say that the Mishnah that said Mashilin Peres Der Charuba is your Rabbi Yeshua. And Rabbi Eliezer says that no, Shabbos and Yom Tov are treated exactly the same. So the Gemara says, Mimai, you have no proof that it's Machlokes Tanur. Dilma, perhaps Adkan Lekam Rabbi Eliezer Hasa. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer only said the case of the bear by the animals, because the Efshar Leparnasa. You can keep the other animal alive. Aval Hecha de Lo Efshar Leparnasa. But if the fruit's going to get ruined up on the roof if you don't bring him down, then he doesn't force you to do it. Or Inami Adkam Lekam Rabbi Yeshua Asam the Efshar Baram. Rabbi Yeshua there allowed the trick. But if there's no special trick to do this cheshbon, you said, oh, maybe I'll shech this, maybe I'll shech this. Maybe he doesn't allow you. So there's no raya that the machlokes that we had in these mishnahs are these same machlokes. The Gemara tries another tack in Rav Papa's name, that the two mishnahs of Mashil and Peiros versus Ein Ben Yontif L'Shabbos Eloich Lavish Shvad is Machlokes Beisham and Beisim. It's not. Beishamai Oimrim Ein moitzinas hakotten v'salula v'sefer Torah l'shus hara. Now, on Yom Tif, we're allowed to carry for Oichel Nefesh. You're allowed to do anything for Oichel Nefesh. But it's got to be related to food. Beis Shammai says no. You're not allowed to carry a Sefer Torah from Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Tif. Or even L'Shem Mitzvah, like a lulav. The only thing that was permitted is Oichel Nefesh, not Hoitzah. Ubeis Hillel matirin. But Beis Hillel, once you're permitted to carry for Oichel Nefesh, you can carry for even for non-Oichel Nefesh issues. We hold, of course, beyond of Mutzah Lahotzi L'Shus Harabim, Gam Dvarim She'ein Tzarech Oichel Nefesh. Im Yesh B'kach Tzarech Kolshu, as long as there's some need for it. So the Gemara wants to say that the Mishnah of Mashilin Peros is Beis Hillel, and the Mishnah that says Ein Ben Shabbos LeYontif, which is Machmir, is Beis Shammai. So the Gemara says Ein Ben Shabbos LeBeis Shammai Hotzah. Beis Shammai prohibited carrying. Tiltul Mishamasla. Where do you see that he was Machmir regarding Muktzah? Muktzah is just touching something. The truth is, the whole issue of Muktzah starts because of Hotzah. So, in Echanami, this Machloikas is Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is how the Gemara ends up. The Av Rab Savrla Lahadira. Rav also permitted the use of other items, being lenient regarding muktzah, like Rav. Amar Rav. Mar shelo yigane. Rashi says Mar is a pushir. What's a pusher? Pusher, Mar. It's some kind of rake, some kind of implement that you use in the garden. So you're allowed to move it from the sun to the shade. So it shouldn't be stolen. Time, no. Excuse me. Yeah. Time i.e., moving something on behalf of the kli itself, you're not allowed to do. Which is like Rava. But if you're going to move it for to use the kli, or because you needed space, that's permitted. So the Gemara says, it's not so. Rav was not matir. Rav Kahana ikla Rav. Rav Kahana visited Rav. Bring shuta is a trap, and I guess they didn't have a chair, and he wanted them to bring this trap that Rav Kahana could sit on. Now, because they're using it for a purpose, but just in order to use to move the trap because they want to use its space, he didn't allow. So the Gemara is challenging this notion that Rav was matir like Rav. So hachi armalu shkuli shuta mekame kahana. Move the trap from Rav Kahana to give Rav Kahana room. So he was allowing them to remove that item even for tzarech makom, which is consistent with holding like Rav. Or the reason initially they were machmir was because they were moving it from the sun to the shade, which even Rava does not allow. Rav Mori bar Rachel. Rav Mori is called Rav Mori bar Rachel. There's a whole story because I think she was raped, taken prisoner by a pirate, and so that's why he's referred to as by his mother's name, not his father's name. We'll have this story at another place in Shas. Rav Meri bar Rachel Abaleahi Beis Sadyuta B'Shimsha. He had a pillow that was in the sun. Also made a Rava, and he wanted to remove it because I guess the sun was damaging it. Amr le Ma'ula Tulip. Amr le Shari. He permitted. So Isli Achrina. He said, but I have other pillows. Maybe I don't have to move it. He said, but you can still move it because Chazula Orchin. Because you could use it for Orchin, for guests. So he said, Isli Nami lo Orchin. I have pillows for the Orchin. I don't need maybe this pillow. Amr le Galita Adaicha de Kerabasvir. Well, I see that you hold like Rabbah, that you permit even to move a kli that's malach leheter even from the sun to the shade. L'kula al meshari l'ditcha asur. Now, for everybody though, Rava sensed that because Rav Meri was trying to get out of using it, they was holding like Rabbah, who was machmir. So that's why Rava said, for the whole world it's permitted, but you were following Rabbah, it's prohibited because you have to follow your Rebbe. Mechabdos shel milsa. Mechabdos are brooms, but these brooms are made out of like cloth. Mutter l'tatlan b'Shabbos. They're not muktzah. See, the problem is regular brooms that were made out of like palm fronds. In the time of Chazal, they had dirt floors. When they swept the floors, it was like binyan. It was like they filled up holes. They smoothed it out. So these brooms that are made of cloth are not muktzah because there's no chash that you're gonna make binyan. Aval shel tomorrow, but brooms made out of palm branches, look. But Rav Lazar Rav shel tomorrow. You could even regular brooms are not muktzah. Now, what are we talking about? Are we talking about using it for some other purpose or for its place? Why would Rav not permit you to use a regular broom even if it was made out of palm trees? Kli is malachta leheter because it's not an isser dika malacha, and certainly he holds even a kli shemalachta leisser you can use litzarf guvo tzarf makom. Why would he ask her? And because Rav Karavas lenient. Elam echamal etzel, which we know that Rav does not allow by a kli malachta leisser. Maybe there you should ask Afshal tomorrow. And the aim of Echena Rabbi Lazar thus said Rabbi Lazar the same thing. We're talking about moving it from the sun to the shade, which we prohibit. Today, our brooms mutter l'tatalam. Our floors, it's permitted to sweep our floors. And therefore today a broom is considered a kli shalach leheter. And that's why it's not muktzah. Mishnah. Kol ha-kelim anitolim b'Shabbos, shivreim nitolim imoyim. Any kli that's not muktzah on Shabbos, if they break, so you can move the broken pieces. They're also not muktzah. As long as you can do something with the broken piece. For example, shivrei arev, if you have a bowl that broke, let's say you can cover a barrel or the top of a bottle with this. Shivres chuchis, broken glassware, l'chasus, but it's piapach. You could use it to close up a small little canteen. Rav Yehuda Oimer, bilvad sheyu oisin me'ein malachta. It can't be used for any malacha. It's got to be used for its original malacha. So shivri areva, like a pot, lotzuk l'sochan mikvah. So you could put a little soup in it. Shos chuchis, lotzuk l'sochan shemer, or maybe put some oil on the glassware. So it's not, you can't use it for cross purposes. You got to use it for the same purpose that the kli was used for before it was broken. Amar Rav Shmuel. Now, when was this kli broken? It's machlokes. The Rav Yehuda says machlokes between the Tanakh and Rav Yehuda shenishbu me'erev Shabbos. These kelim broke erev Shabbos, and the marsa remained lachtan in. Rav Yehuda says that's why, if they can do the original malacha, yes, but me'em malacha cheres lo. But if they can't do the original malacha, they're muktzah. And the Chachamim hold, they could be used even for another malach. Aval nishbru b'Shabbos, but the kli broke on Shabbos. Divrei hakol mutarim. Everybody's going to hold that it's mutar, because ho'elu muchanim al gabi aviyah. This kli was muchan to be used for Shabbos, erev Shabbos. So the broken pieces follow their parent. And if the parent was not muktzah erev Shabbos, this remains not muktzah. However, moisif Rav Zutroy, masikin b'kelim ve'masikin b'shivri kelim. On Yontif, if you have a wooden bowl, you can throw the bowl into the fire if you needed fuel. But if the bowl broke, you may not use it as fire. And over there, the analysis is like this. The nishbru amos. When did this wooden bowl break? Ilema the nishbru me'erev yontif. So then what's wrong? Eitzim ba'almaninu. So the broken pieces are wood, but they should also be good for fuel. And elala b'yontif. They broke on yontif. And now we have a new problem of noila, right? Like an egg that's born on Yontif. It's a new bria. The same thing here. The broken pieces are a new bria. And not only that, how come we don't say that since the kli was not muktzah erev Yontif, it remains, it's not, it follows the parent. So that's a kasha, what we said, how come it doesn't work here? Ella iyit marachiyit. Amida mashmua machlokas shenishbu b'Shabbos. The machlokas in our Mishnah is when the kli broke on Shabbos. The marsav muchan umarsav noilin. Rabbi Yehuda says it's noilin. And therefore you can only use it for the same way that it was used erev Shabbos. The Chachamim say it was muchan from erev Shabbos, and therefore it remains muchan on Shabbos. But if it broke erev Shabbos, divra kol mutar. You had your mind on both the pieces as well from erev Shabbos, so the whole thing remains not muktzah. Yet there's a three machlokas. Tani chada, one bride says masikin b'kelim v'masikin b'shivrei kelim. You can only use a complete kli, but not broken kelim. Tani idach kishemesh masikin b'kelim kach masikin b'shivrei kelim. There's a bride that says just like you can use the whole kli, you can use the broken kli. The tani idach ein masikin lo b'kelim lo b'shivrei kelim. So what's this? Ha Rabbi Yehuda, who holds there is muktzah. So that's Rav Yehuda, who holds that since the kli was broken, but the kli itself could be used, but not the broken kalim, because he holds of muktzah. The one who says everything is permitted is Rab Shimon. He does not accept that Bechlal is Muktzah. And the one who answers everything is Rab Nechemya, who says you can only use a kli for its own purpose, to use it for other purposes. So a kli is used to hold salad. It's not meant to use fire. So that's Rab Nechemya. Well, anytime you use a kli for another purpose, it's muktzah. That's why both are muktzah. Oh, Rav Nachman. Hani livni, bricks, the ishtarnu binyana, that are left over from a construction site, shari l'taltulim. It's permitted to move them. You can sit on them. The chazul lemizgalai, shraginu. However, if you pile them up in a corner, vadayaktzinu, you obviously designated it for binyan purposes. You can't use it on Shabbos. A small piece of pottery is not muktzah in the chutzner. Although the Carmelis law, a Carmelis is a place. It's not a Rosh Hashanah. It's not a Rosh Hashanah. The Chacham said you can't carry their Daled Amis, but here you can't even touch the cheres at all. But Rav Nachman Didei Omar Philip Carmelis. It's not muktzah in the Carmelis either. Al Rosh Hashanah low, but it's muktzah in the Rosh Hashanah. The Rav Omar Philip Rosh Hashanah, it's not muktzah in Rosh Hashanah. The Rav Tamei, the Rav of Akazel Beritka the Mechuzah. Rav was walking in Mechuzah. Is Vase Mesane Tina. His shoe got muddy. Also, Shame, his servant came, Skal Chaspa, took a piece of pottery, and cleaned his shoe. So you see, even Rosh Hashanah, there's a function for it. And the Carmelis, you could cover it. You can cover a piece of spit with it. See, in a chutzner where there's other kalim, so you could use the pottery to cover the kli, so it's called a kli. But a Carmelis, the initial avamina was even barba amrit, you can't touch it because it's not used for anything. But when it said afilu b'Carmelis, Rashi says, even though it's not Rosh Hashanah, there are things in it, and you could use, for example, to cover spit. And now Rabbi gave an example how you could use it even in the Rosh Hashanah to clean your shoe. Ramu be Rabbanan Kala. The Chachamim were not happy with that psak. They sort of raised their voice against it. Amar, lo mistayv lo gmiri, migmer nami migmeri. I'm sorry. Rava said that. Lo mistayv lo gmiri, migmer nami migmeri. They didn't learn correctly, and they're teaching other people. If the pottery piece was in the chutzner, you could use it to cover any kli in there. In Rosh Hashanah, I could use this shard to scrape mud off, so therefore it's not booked. You have the lid of a barrel that broke. It's not muktzah. I'm sorry, the barrel broke. You could also touch the lid. You have a lid of a barrel that broke. You can move the lid, you can touch the shvor, the pieces, because you can use it to cover another kli. However, lo yispot b'mena shever l'chazus b'sa kli. you shouldn't break more pieces to cover the kli with more broken pieces. Or v'lismoch bo kari mita, or to prop up a couch. And then v'im zarka ba'ashra, if you threw it in the garbage, so you didn't want it, also then it becomes muktzah. Because it's makeba patish if you use it. If you use it to fix a bed. Muscular of papa lamiata zarkle leglime. I just said you take your shirt, you throw it in the garbage. The shirt isn't a shirt anymore. Shirt's also a shirt. It's not gonna be muktzah. It's used. Of papa in zarkim but yom la ashpasur. If you threw it in the garbage from Erev Shabbos, you showed you didn't want to use it for Shabbos, it's certainly not mukhan for Shabbos. By the way, for those who were on the Yoredei Ashir, we talked about if the dairy item is dry, you could use it in a meat oven, and they